Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down the official chapter-by-chapter journey from the very beginning.
Today, we are on Chapter 12, The Dog.
And what a chapter for the heartstrings. We think we're in for a big pirate brawl, but Oda just swerves and gives us a story about a little dog guarding a treasure. It's one of those moments that defines the whole series. It's not just setting a tone, it is the tone.
It's a quiet promise. The kind that echoes louder than any cannon fire. It establishes a fundamental law of this world, that treasure is not always gold and jewels. Often, it is something far more precious.
Exactly. A promise to protect what matters. And if you want to promise you'll never miss one of our breakdowns, the best way to do that is to have the new episode just show up in your feed. You know what to do. All right, let's get into it. The chapter kicks off back at Buggy's base of operations.
Buggy is in full gloat mode. He's pontificating to his crew about his reputation, his power, how no one should mess with him. It's a performance, as everything with Buggy seems to be.
It's pure ego. He's surrounded by his loot, literally sitting on a pile of treasure, but the thing he's most proud of is his own legend. He's telling his men that his name strikes fear into people all over the East Blue. And you know what? At this point in the story, he's probably right. We, the audience, see him as a bit of a joke, but to the average citizen, a pirate with a devil fruit and a cannon is a terrifying force.
It's an important distinction. We have the benefit of Luffy's perspective, which tends to deflate pomposity. But from the outside, Buggy has cultivated a very effective image. He's all about presentation. He's ordering his men to find Luffy, Nami, and Zoro, and then this new character steps up, Mohji the Beast Tamer. And he's got a full-on lion with him named Richie.
Richie. I love Richie. He's got this big, doofy face and just sits there while Mohji does all the talking. And Mohji himself, what a look. That weird bear hat hair thing. Oda's character designs are already so distinctive. You see a silhouette of this guy and you know exactly who it is.
Mohji volunteers to take out Zoro himself. Buggy, in his infinite generosity, says he doesn't mind. The dialogue here is telling. Buggy refers to his crew as the main attractions of his circus.
This is classic pirate crew structure, but with a twist. You've got the captain, you've got the second in command, and now we're seeing the officers. We had Kabaji, the acrobat on his unicycle, and now Mohji, the Beast Tamer. Oda is building out this circus-themed threat piece by piece. It's not just a gang, it's a troupe.
It gives the crew a distinct identity beyond just generic pirates. They're performers. Everything is about the show, the spectacle. Buggy's flashiness, his chop-chop fruit, which is inherently performative, Kabaji's acrobatics, and now a lion tamer. It suggests a certain kind of villainy, one that craves an audience as much as it craves treasure.
It makes them feel more real. And more dangerous in a weird way. It's not just a mob, it's an organization with specific roles. And Mohji's role is to handle the brute force, but with style. He wants to take out Zoro, who is not doing so hot.
Not at all. We cut to a street in Orangetown, and Zoro is still carrying Luffy in that cage. The paneling here is so effective. You see him stumbling, sweating, the weight of it all literally pressing down on him, and then he just collapses.
The man is a monster, but he's not invincible. Let's really break this down. He was starved for days on that cross. He fought a bunch of Marines. He fought Kabaji. Then he got stabbed through the torso by Buggy, a wound that would have killed anyone else, right through the gut. And after all that, he's been lugging around 100+ pounds of rubber and steel ever since. The dude finally hit his limit. This isn't weakness. This is a testament to his superhuman endurance.
It's an important moment for him. It's the first time since he joined Luffy that we've seen him completely out of commission from sheer exhaustion and injury. It grounds him. Zoro often feels like a force of nature, but here we're reminded of his humanity. He can be broken, or at least temporarily paused. It makes his future feats of endurance even more impactful because we have this baseline. We know what it takes to put him down.
And, of course, what does Luffy say? He's stuck in a cage, his first mate is unconscious and possibly bleeding out on the pavement, and his primary concern is not, "Are you okay?" or "Thanks for carrying me." He just points out a dog that's sitting perfectly still in front of a shop.
He's just watching them, completely unmoving. Luffy, with his unique perception, comments that you can't even tell if he's real or not. It's a moment of pure, innocent curiosity in the middle of a crisis.
So, what does our future Pirate King do? He uses his devil fruit powers not to escape, not to fight, but to satisfy a trivial curiosity. He reaches through the bars, stretches his finger out, pokes the dog on the head to check, and immediately gets his face chomped on.
Of course he does. It's pure, unfiltered Luffy logic. Curiosity first, consequences a distant second. There is no filter between thought and action. The thought was, is it real? The action was, poke.
He has zero self-preservation instinct, but you can't even be mad at him. It's not malicious. He just had a question and he found the most direct way to get an answer. It's almost scientific in a really dumb way. His hypothesis was that the dog might be a statue. The experiment was the poke. The result was pain. Conclusion, the dog is real. Science.
The answer was teeth. And it's a great little gag that also establishes the dog's character. He's not aggressive, but he will not be messed with. He has boundaries.
He does. And right as Luffy is getting his face mauled, Nami shows up. She is not impressed. She is the voice of reason in this hurricane of chaos.
She immediately points out that lying in the middle of a road is probably not the best way to hide from the pirates currently hunting them. She is always thinking 3 steps ahead, focused entirely on survival and strategy.
She's got the key. She actually stole the key to Luffy's cage right under Buggy's nose. Can we just take a second to appreciate her skill here? To be able to get that close to the enemy captain and lift the key without anyone noticing? She is so good at her job. So good. She's a world-class thief.
It reinforces her value to the burgeoning crew. Luffy's the muscle, Zoro's the fighter, and Nami is the strategist and infiltrator. They are, without even meaning to, forming a perfectly balanced team. She tosses the key right in front of the cage. Freedom is inches away.
And the dog eats it.
The dog just calmly walks over, sniffs the key, and swallows it. The panel is silent. No sound effect. Just a quiet little gulp that changes everything.
The comedic timing is perfect. It's that classic Oda gut punch. You see the solution, you feel the relief, and then it's snatched away by the most ridiculous obstacle imaginable. The pacing is masterful. Nami's triumphant reveal, the key sailing through the air, and the hopeful glint, and then gulp. It's devastatingly funny. Luffy is understandably losing his mind.
He's trying to strangle the dog through the bars of the cage, just screaming at it. His face is all stretched and distorted with rage, which is when the mayor shows up.
Right, an older guy. Boodle is his name. He runs in and demands they stop hurting the dog, whose name is Chouchou. He's the symbol of civic duty and decency.
He must see a very strange picture. A man in a cage trying to choke a small dog while another man is passed out on the ground next to them and a young woman is yelling at all of them. It's chaos.
Yeah, not a great first impression for the Straw Hats. Hi, we're the heroes of this story. But Boodle is a good dude. He sees Zoro is out cold, and despite the bizarre circumstances, his first instinct is to help. He takes them back to his house to rest up. And that's where we get the story, the real story of this chapter.
He explains why Chouchou just sits there in front of that pet store, day in and day out. This is where the chapter pivots from a slapstick comedy into something deeply poignant.
It's his owner's store. The mayor's friend opened it 10 years ago, but 3 months back, the owner got sick and went to the hospital, and he never came back.
I think it's pretty clear what that means. He passed away. Oda doesn't state it explicitly, leaving a sliver of ambiguity, but the feeling is one of permanent loss. The mayor's tone, the way he tells the story, it's a eulogy.
And Chouchou, he's still there, guarding the shop. Boodle says he feeds him every day, but the dog never leaves his post. He's just waiting. And not just waiting, he's defending. Boodle mentions he's covered in wounds from fighting off other pirates and looters. He knows his owner isn't coming back, but he guards the store anyway.
Because it's his treasure. That line, that one line just recontextualizes everything. It hits like a cannonball. This isn't just a stubborn dog. This is a guardian. This is someone protecting the last remnant of a person he loved. It's his promise. It's the physical manifestation of his bond with his owner. The building isn't just wood and glass. It's a memory, a legacy.
This is the theme of inherited will, presented in its purest, most simple form. The owner is gone, but his will, his treasure, the store, is being carried on by Chouchou. It's a silent, unwavering duty. This is the thesis statement for the entire series, right here in Chapter 12, embodied by a small, fluffy dog. It tells us that the most important battles are not for gold, but for the legacy and treasures of others.
And it's not just a sad story, it's an inspiring one. Boodle, the mayor, he admits he's thought about leaving town, giving up. He's the leader, and even he was ready to run. But then he looks at this little dog, this tiny creature, fighting day after day for something that's already gone, and he changes his mind. That's real strength.
Chouchou's will is so strong it literally inspires the human leader of the town to find his own courage.
It's the kind of strength that inspires others, a recurring theme in Luffy's own journey. It's not about being the strongest fighter, it's about the strength of your conviction. Chouchou has that in spades. His loyalty is so absolute, it becomes a source of power for the whole community, even if it's just for one person.
It also draws a direct parallel to Luffy. What does Luffy treasure most in the world? Shanks' hat. It's a promise. It represents a person he loves and a dream he inherited. Luffy would die to protect that hat, and Chouchou would die to protect this store. They are fundamentally the same. Oda is showing us, not telling us, what kind of hero Luffy is by showing us who he relates to.
It's a beautiful, quiet moment of character and thematic development, and Oda, being the master storyteller he is, immediately shatters it.
And just as we're sitting with this really heavy, emotional moment, we hear a lion's roar.
Mohji and Rinchi have arrived. The levity and the threat come crashing back in.
Boodle and Nami immediately panic and run for it, which is the smart play. They're not fighters. But that leaves Zoro unconscious, Chouchou on guard, and Luffy locked in a cage right in the path of the enemy. The stakes are instantly reestablished.
Mohji finds Luffy and is immediately confident. He sees a wanted man helpless in a cage and assumes an easy victory. The situation seems to be entirely in his favor.
But he didn't account for one thing. Luffy's absolute, bottomless inability to be intimidated. From inside a cage he can't escape, facing a man with a giant lion, the first thing he does is make fun of Mohji's haircut.
He provokes him instantly. No fear, just pure cheek. It's his standard operating procedure. He doesn't engage with his opponents on their terms. He doesn't care about their reputation or their posturing. He sees something absurd and he calls it out. It completely disarms their opponent's attempts at intimidation.
And Mohji gets so mad. His whole persona is built on being this cool, legendary beast tamer. Luffy just pokes a hole in that balloon immediately. So Mohji starts boasting about how he's this legendary beast tamer, how every animal in the world bends to his will, how they're all charmed by him.
And to prove his point, Chouchou, the little dog who has been at the center of this whole chapter, the symbol of unbreakable will, walks right up to him and bites his hand.
Yes, the timing is beautiful. It's a perfect punchline and a profound character moment all in one. It completely undercuts Mohji's entire identity in a single action. This guy's whole thing is animals love me, and this little dog, who is pure of heart, just says, nope.
It speaks to Chouchou's spirit. He isn't just some animal to be tamed. He has his own will to protect. He can sense Mohji's ill intent. He answers to no one, especially not some flashy pirate who thinks he can command loyalty. Loyalty, as Chouchou knows, must be earned.
It's so good. So Mohji, furious and embarrassed, drops the act and just goes for brute force. He orders his lion, Richie, to pounce on the cage and finish Luffy off.
Richie leaps, and the framing of this is brilliant. A massive lion mid-air about to crush the cage and our hero.
And the sheer force of the landing just smashes the cage's lock. The door swings open, Luffy's free.
An absolutely accidental, perfect escape. It is the purest form of task failed successfully. Mohji's ultimate attack becomes the instrument of his own failure.
It's the kind of luck that seems to follow Luffy. You could call it authorial convenience, but within the world of One Piece, it feels like something more. The world just runs out of ways to hold him down. Buggy's plan, the cage, Nami's stolen key getting eaten, it all meant nothing. In the end, the villain's own attack is what sets him free. It's poetic in a really dumb, hilarious way.
It introduces the idea that Luffy's journey is guided by more than just his own strength. There's an element of destiny, or perhaps the will of the world itself, that seems to align with his cause. And Mohji and Richie don't even notice. They're already turning away, completely oblivious.
They think the job is done. They're arrogant. They saw the lion hit the cage and just assumed that was that. And then Richie, being an animal, smells the pet food inside Chouchou's store.
Mohji, still angry and dismissive, seeing the store as just some worthless building, just tells a lion to go ahead and eat it. Help yourself.
And that's where the chapter ends, with Mohji about to desecrate the one thing this little dog has spent months protecting. He is about to trample on someone else's treasure right in front of a newly freed Monkey D. Luffy. The setup for the next chapter is just perfect. You feel that click in your brain. The fight is no longer about Luffy's survival. It's about to become personal.
An unstoppable force is about to meet a very foolish object. This is a critical moment for Luffy's character. We've seen him fight for his own dream and for his friends, but this is the first time we'll see him fight for the treasure of a complete stranger, a dog no less.
This is what it's all about. Luffy is about to see someone disrespect another person's treasure, and we know how he feels about that from the way he treats his hat. This is where he shines. This isn't just a fight for his own sake anymore. This is the fight for Chouchou.
It elevates the conflict immediately. It's not just pirates fighting pirates. It's a defense of a promise, a defense of an inherited will. Mohji made a fatal error, not by attacking Luffy, but by threatening something that matters to someone else.
Okay, before we get into what we think is coming next, we want to hear from you. If you've got a theory about exactly what kind of gum attack Luffy's about to unleash on Moji's weird haircut, drop it in the comments. We want to read them all.
My prediction is that it's going to be swift. Mohji and Richie are not the main event here. They're an obstacle to the emotional story. Oda has spent the entire chapter building our empathy for Chouchou. The resolution to that emotional arc is the priority. Luffy is going to deal with them, and it won't be a prolonged struggle, because the fight itself is not the point. The reason for the fight is.
I'm with you. My first prediction is that it's a one-shot, not even a fight. Luffy is going to see Richie break into that store, and all that goofy, your haircut is weird energy is going to vanish. His eyes will go cold, the hat will cast a shadow over his face, and he is going to flatten both Mohji and Richie in a single move. It'll be a statement. You do not touch someone else's treasure. Period. This isn't for sport. This is an execution of justice.
That feels right. It establishes a clear moral line in the sand for him. My second prediction is that Nami and Boodle will rally. They'll come back, maybe with some other townsfolk, expecting to see a disaster. They ran from the lion, but they'll return, driven by conscience. Instead of a massacre, they'll find Mohji unconscious and Luffy just standing there, maybe dusting his hands off. This will be a turning point for Nami's perception of him.
Oh, I like that. That's a great call. She'll see he's not just a walking catastrophe. There's a purpose to his chaos. He's not just a reckless idiot. He's a reckless idiot with a profound sense of justice. He's a protector. My second prediction is about Zoro. I think he's going to wake up right at the very end of the chapter, just as the dust is settling. He'll have missed the whole fight, but he'll see the result, Mohji and Richie out cold, the store safe, Luffy standing guard, and it'll just be this quiet moment of him cracking a small smile. No words needed, just him realizing, yeah, I picked the right captain.
That would be a perfect beat for Zoro. And my final prediction is that the chapter will end with a quiet moment between Luffy and Chouchou. After the fight is over, after the sound and fury, everything will go silent. Luffy will do something, maybe just sit with him for a second, or pick up the sign for the pet food store and put it back in its place. There won't be any words, just a moment of mutual respect between two beings who understand the importance of protecting what matters. Luffy won't want thanks. He'll just see a kindred spirit and acknowledge it.
That's the one. That's the moment that's going to make this whole mini arc stick the landing. Super excited to see it happen. That quiet respect is the real victory. The fight is just the work you have to do to earn that moment.
It seems inevitable. The emotional foundation is all there. Oda has constructed the perfect scenario for this specific emotional payoff.
All right, that's it for Chapter 12. What a ride! A perfect blend of goofy adventure and real, genuine heart. This is the chapter you show someone when they ask what One Piece is all about. It's got the weird powers, the comedy, the tension, and a core of pure, undiluted emotion.
It's a foundational chapter for the series' core themes. We'll see this same idea, protecting the treasure of another, play out on grander and grander scales, from kingdoms to entire islands. But it all starts here, with one small dog and his store. We'll see you next time for Chapter 13.